Just answering questions with WapTech. Why 15 minutes on YouTube? 15 minutes of fame meme? Originally it was 10 minutes. The 15-minute mark has to do with a compression algorithm that was used at the time to do videos, and they found out the majority of people did certain lengths of videos if they, at the time, this is a long time ago on YouTube, paid to upload. It was originally just a video storage area and a place for sharing stuff, and it would become the media monster it is now as social media, or anti-social media as I jokingly and not so jokingly call it. But the 15-minute joke is probably an allusion to everyone will in the future will be famous for 15 minutes at a time. Adding that in was done by, I forgot who it is, it's some other person. But basically the idea is that you would all get a little segment. This was actually a part of a couple of sci-fi movies. Billions of people want to be heard. We give them 15 minutes each. Welcome to the soapbox. I think that's actually the quote from the little movie it was done. It was a real schlocky thing. But the whole idea is basically someone predicted YouTube a long time ago. We can all independently publish. We're considered alternate media, even if we're not alt-writers. Or alt-readers, either. I have watched for 30 years, hopefully, to find a way to stop this from happening. Someone wanting to prevent something bad. Here we go. All I get is shunned for my concerns and treated like I'm a nut job. Welcome to YouTube and the internet. This isn't really just a conspiracy nut. As it happens, I tried to tell you. I'm still just a conspiracy freak in a cage. I'm sorry. As for the shootings, most are faked BS promoting it as real. No, there's no reason to believe that, in my opinion. I'm interjecting my opinion because this is just asking and answering questions. You wouldn't be here if you weren't asking questions. Or making assertions as questions or whatever. The idea that every shooting or most shootings have to be some sort of staged event is an escape hatch from reality. But you can believe this if you want to, but if you're going to make these assertions, why not try to prove that's real instead of just assuming it about everything and just saying, I don't want to deal with reality, which is what this sounds like. But anyway, maybe I'm wrong. They can control BS they staged, not deal with not the real deal, so we don't hear of real things more than 5 seconds. Okay, so the real things you think are only covered lightly and then are skipped, are they by any chance always opposing the group you prefer to be part of? I don't know. Next, the news sticks with whatever's sensationalistic. I do agree with you. But they exploit it mostly for views. No different than what happens with alt media. There is no difference. As long as publishing of facts and reality becomes connected inexorably to things like making money, it's no different than mainstream media. And it's less controllable and less critiquable because you have literally thousands of people like me posting things. This is one of the reasons YouTube has become so hardline about just scramming everything that needs to be left up. Fake crap they can't stop talking about. Good luck, effers. And this is under my video on John X Army Grand Solar Minimum assertion that he took from somebody who is not qualified. Doesn't matter if anybody likes it. I didn't debunk it. I peer reviewed it like everybody else did. They'll agree with me. Patriots, Tropicana rooftop shooter, and bombing of Oklahoma City. Now, I don't know which one this was specifically about, but I do understand the feeling about it. All shootings, if it was like, well, I'm going to assume that it's Las Vegas at this point for sake of argument. Not everything has to be faked. It does if you don't want to deal with the fact that one man can make a difference. A person with a lot of money, or just stealing a bunch of guns, no one's actually brought this up, from a gun store, can rig them up to act like machine guns and kill a bunch of people in one shot if they get them grouped together. Every single place people get together in groups. By the way, a lot of church shootings have happened. Is a potential target, and everyone has to realize it. No, you're no longer safe in groups. Used to be there was strength in numbers. Now there's a weakness. Nobody's talking about that because that might give bad guys an idea, and I don't want them getting an idea either. But everyone is kind of aware of that. If you think tactically, This means that we do have a real problem, and now it is really something that would actually result in maybe gun control, because merely owning a lot of guns, especially if they're almost identical to each other, could be prima facie evidence that you're attempting to get together a menagerie of guns to do something. It's simply easier to outfit a person or a bunch of people with guns that are identical and get them consistent. Somebody's saying, I live in Oklahoma City and lost several friends in the bombing. So the bombing occurred and there was death. Okay, we have you pigeonholed into one group of people, majority or not. Let's go on. The morning that it happened, we watched as our local news reported many unexploded bombs that were found in part of the building that was left standing. They had abandoned rescue efforts several times while the bomb squad came in to remove the bombs. Okay. And took them away to detonate them. Within a couple of days, this information was scrubbed from all news outlets and never heard of again. However, we remember the truth, and there's much more to the story, not being able blah, 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 blah. Okay. What actually caused this? Jump the gun news reporters and people making assertions, and more importantly, officials not giving out factual data. I had an argument about this with a police officer. Never do an interview with non-factual data. Well, we don't lie. No. You're not allowed to escapism it. No escape hatch. It's not lying. You don't know what you're talking about. Worse than lying for any police officer or official is saying, I don't know. If they would start every sentence, I don't know what's going on. This is what we've got so far. That is factual. We don't know what it means. We know these are facts. If everybody would take a course with a giant slapping machine hooked up to their head every time they try to fib, because they are trying to make themselves look good, if they'd stop trying to make themselves look good, you would never get these responses. If anybody's curious about that, even the Wikipedia page acknowledges that during this occurrence, there was a problem. A bunch of news agencies gave out reports that were simply wrong. They retracted them later, but they were posted, and you can find some of the archives of it. But it wasn't done as much, and it wasn't as militantly retained. That doesn't mean it's some fake story. That means they made a mistake. And a lot of them put up an apology for doing a bad job being journalists. These days, nobody expects that. It's seen as a weakness. You know, like Trump refusing to acknowledge that he said something that was never true in the first place, unless it benefits him for a political campaign. They made erroneous errors and mistakes. This is not an indication it was scrubbed. It's an indication that they removed the story after they found out it was wrong. That's a big difference. But I will go ahead and dig up all those stories in another video and put them up for you, so that you cannot claim ignorance. Because right now you're ignorant of that, even though the Wikipedia page has it. Yes, investigations. I wasn't taking aim at you, WAPTech. This is a different person, I guess. I was trying to make some people understand that the government will pull outside disinfo if it benefits them. I know. People think all this secret info is being leaked via 4chan, 8chan, Reddit, and YouTube, when really it's very likely the official insider intel is being leaked. Or my assertion, it's just a freaking lie told by people who profiteer directly and overtly in your face do so and get caught later. But it has to be the government somehow. I think the government would like to take credit for being able to run this level of a propaganda campaign, and sometimes they do. I don't know if they do it either. Nobody really knows the answer. But what's more likely? The guy in front of your face who lied for 2 years finally admitting to it, being just him being a liar and collecting money from you? Or it being a government cover-up so that you don't have to think that maybe the whole thing was a lie you believed. I'm sorry, did I bust something for you? If it is, it could also be an attempt to steer people one way. Again, now you're making it more complicated. A huckster lied to you about aliens from another planet is simpler than a government conspiracy to all that's just what they want you to think. There was a documentary on YouTube about the whole such and such thing, and you don't believe that this is disinfo. Okay, maybe it is. And they referencing the FOSI as special interest. Yeah, they got the initialism for the organization wrong on purpose, so you'd look up their pages that had it, right? Oh, I'm sorry, that's too simplistic. Search engine optimization there. It was a great documentary too, or it could be propaganda. There aren't any aliens visiting us. They wouldn't visit. They would come here and stay. If anybody isn't aware of this, aliens with the ability to come from one planet to another, to be able to leave and go back, would be able to violate one of the rules of time-space. That means they would be able to change time and space. They would be time and space travelers. You can't have one without the other, which means there would be no necessity for this because they would just go back in time and fix something. No, there isn't a conundrum that makes that impossible. No, if you can go through time, that means you can alter it. If you can't alter time, you couldn't go through time, so you can't violate that rule. So you're stuck at the speed limit of the speed of light or lower, which means you can't go from one star system to another and go back. You land and stay. The only options are within the solar system, or never left the planet after coming here, or always being on the planet and just being yet another life form. Either way, none of them at that point are alien to the solar system, and because the solar system still needs to be explored, we don't know, but I'm sorry, a couple of planets, moons orbiting Jupiter or Saturn might be a better spot. You can believe whatever you want to, but can you at least make it fit reality itself slightly? I just thought it was kind of fudged that such and such intercepted the radio signal in the New Mexico Air Force. He lived near, he warned them of when he heard. He thought it was an alien threat, but in the end, they fed the fire in his mind certain things. It's a sad story because he had the best interests of the Air Force Base in mind, blah, 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 blah. And then they leaked, apparently. This was kind of used as a tool to drip mix info into the UFO community, if I understand right. We will never understand right. Because anybody involved in it, think about this. If your job was to keep the United States from getting attacked, and I'm not meaning that you're affiliating with aliens, and a bunch of people started saying crazy stuff that was scary, stupid, and annoying, would you care if you made them miserable or lied about them? Wouldn't you just treat them as annoying? I mean, I would have no trouble doing I would do it on April 1st or Halloween, but doing a joke video or audio where, I've threatened to do it, do a viral video and become famous for trolling these people. A bunch of people troll. The Q guy is a troll. I started that. I'm Q. Do you understand that? Anybody can make that claim. I can't prove it because obviously I would do it in such a way that I wouldn't be able to be found. But seriously, it's trolling behavior. It isn't necessarily the government doing it. And only the U.S. government does this kind of thing. Russia doesn't do it. It's never Russia, Russia, Russia. Right. We have a specialized universe where everybody's the enemy as long as they're mainstream media or whatever. All things being equal, none of you treat it equally. I try to. I don't assume the government isn't doing propaganda. They gave themselves permission to do it. I don't assume Russia's innocent for interfering with our election when the Republicans and Democrats did so and got caught badly. And we just sort of brush this off? Well, yeah, because we can't do anything about it. You're complaining about things that don't exist because you have control over the thing that doesn't exist. Reality is something you and I can't modify most of the time. And it's getting on our nerves, and we all know it now. Let's go on. A documentary I seen said Dottie was responsible for fabricating leaks of fake government documents such as Blue Book and some other ones. Blue Book is not fabricated. The majority of it isn't fabricated by the government anyway. However, he denied Majestic 12 leak. Majestic 12 was a novel. Even though there was supposedly some evidence linking him to it. Once it becomes this muddled, you go back to the source information and see, was it ever credible? If it wasn't, stop talking about it. It's garbage. Well, the voltmeter was wrong last week, but we're going to keep using the voltage results? No, you start over. I did. It's not that complicated. It actually frees you from the shackles of this propaganda campaign. I'm going to do a part 2 on this, but thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that.